Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we have a very exciting unboxing and review. We have the second of this month, the second 1-200 model. We have the Gemini200 Royal Air Force Voyager. Along with this, I've actually gone for something that kind of goes hand in hand with this unboxing. I also have a Herpa 1-200 Royal Australian Air Force F-35. Now the reason why I went for a Royal Australian Air Force F-35 and not a Royal Air Force One is because Herpa, I don't know if they just don't make one or it just wasn't in stock, but I couldn't find a Royal Air Force One, so I just went with a Royal Australian Air Force One. There's not too much of a difference, they're both grey, just some small markings that are different, so I wasn't too upset about settling for the Royal Australian Air Force One instead. But the main thing, of course, I will unbox this, but I'll unbox that near the end. But we have the main thing for this unboxing, which is the Royal Air Force A330MRTT. Again, just like the A380 unboxing, I am going to go through a little bit of a background about this aircraft. Now, the story of the Voyager aircraft actually starts with this. This is a 1-400 model of the Royal Air Force VC-10s that they used to use. This first entered the Royal Air Force fleet in 1965, and these were only retired as of 2013. This aircraft, and many like it, served the purpose of the MRTT aircraft in the Royal Air Force fleet before the A330s came along. MRTT stands for Multi-Role Tanker Transport, so it's pretty much in the name. It's a multi-role tanker and transport. As you can probably see on the wings of these aircraft, we have these little kind of like pods attached to the wings. These are actually refueling attachments where a little pipe would kind of extend out of here, and then aircraft could be refueled from this aircraft in flight. There are many amazing photos of these aircraft refueling some of the OG aircraft like the Tornado and more up-to-date aircraft like the Eurofighter. But as I did say, these aircraft entered into the fleet in 1967, which is a very long time ago. And so in 2004, the Royal Air Force started hunting for a replacement. And they eventually settled upon this. This is the Airbus A330MRTT. It serves the exact same purpose as the VC-10s, except it's just an updated airframe. Of course, the A330 is a very successful passenger aircraft, and so in 2004, Airbus started to come up with plans for the MRTT version. The A330 MRTT first took flight in 2007 and then entered service with the Royal Air Force in 2011. This aircraft is set to fly with the Royal Air Force for 30 years, so in the 2040s, that's when these will be retired and replaced with another MRTT aircraft. What would be very cool is if Airbus came up with the A350 MRTT. That would be such a cool design. The Royal Air Force currently have 14 of these in service, and they cost £25,000 per hour to operate. In 2015, one of these aircraft was retrofitted for the royal family, which cost £10 million. Now, although that does seem like a lot of money, that would actually ultimately save the government money, because that would actually save £700,000 per year over chartering other aircraft. It's fair to say this aircraft is almost like the backbone of the Royal Air Force. They operate so many flights. They've been operating a lot of cargo flights over the coronavirus period, and they also operate passenger flights to British territories that aren't very accessible. So for example, they operate 2 weekly flights to both the Ascension Islands and the Falkland Islands. Those are 2 islands that are very, very desolate. They're very, very isolated. And the Royal Air Force does actually allow citizens from those islands to actually board these aircraft on flights to the UK. They have twice weekly flights from the Ascension Islands and the Falkland Islands to Brize Norton in the UK. Brize Norton is where most of these are based. That's the big UK Air Force base, if you're not aware. Now, it's not just the UK that operate these aircraft. The UK currently are the primary operators of the A330 MRTT. As I said, they do operate 14, but there are various other countries that do use this aircraft, including Australia. They currently have 7. Saudi Arabia has 6 of these, Singapore has 6 of these, South Korea has 4 of these, the United Arab Emirates has 3 of these, France currently have 3 of these, but they have 12 more on order, Germany has 4 on order, the Netherlands has 2 on order, Belgium has 1 on order, and Norway also has another 1 on order. Airbus are also in talks with Spain, Indonesia and India on potentially purchasing a few of these aircraft, and there are some previous failed talks with both with Brazil and the United States on potentially purchasing some of these aircraft. These aircraft come in two configurations. The Royal Air Force ones, as you can see, have these pods on the wings. A fun fact about these pods is these are actually placed in the exact same mounting point where the A340 actually attaches the extra engines. As you can see, there is a pod on each wing, and these do extend with pipes. They kind of extend out here for two aircraft to refuel at the same time. There are also Voyagers with different refueling methods. I know that the Royal Australian Air Force actually use boom poles. So this is a KC-135. I don't have a A330MRTT with a boom pole, but as you can see, this KC-135 at the back there, that is fitted with a boom pole. That pole basically extends downwards and it allows for one aircraft to refuel at the rear of this aircraft here. And then it was announced in 2020 that one of the Voyagers, Zulu 336, would get this paint job. This new livery costs just under $1 million to produce, and there has been a lot of political talk about, whether the Royal Air Force should have spent this money on this aircraft. And I'm not going to dive into the politics of this aircraft, but the one thing I think everybody can agree with is that this plane looks awesome. Whether you think they should have spent the money on this, that's kind of beyond the point. They've already spent it. There's no point kind of crying about it at this stage because it's a done deal. It's not like wiping the livery off is going to save any money, but this aircraft looks amazing. One thing that I've seen so many people and so many news articles talk about is, wait, this is a bad idea because how is this aircraft meant to fly in a war zone? That's not the point of this aircraft. Only one Voyager is painted into this livery, and it's almost to represent the UK. 99.9% of the flights that the Voyagers do, they're not going into an active war zone. And this one is kind of dedicated to VIP transport. So we're talking the royal family, then primarily the Prime Minister as well. When the Prime Minister or the royal family has to fly somewhere, they would use this plane to get there. But now moving on to this model, you can see we've got the classic Gemini200 box. We've got Gemini200 up the top there with the Royal Air Force logo here, the clip out of the aircraft here, Airbus A330MRTT. It's the same as any 1-200 Gemini box pretty much. More information on the back here, side information like that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and open this box. We can kind of undo this pull tab on the side here, bend these cardboard pieces back, and we can take out the polystyrene. Okay, here we go. Okay, the moment of truth, lifting the top off of the box here. Here's the model. Wow. Okay, there's the model. Of course, we've got the stand on the side here. This is, I believe, smaller than the one we got with the A380, which does make sense. It's a smaller aircraft, of course. In here, we've got all the wheels. We've got the closed pieces here. Then we've got the landing gear. And then, without further ado, I'm just going to take out the model. Okay, it's a lot better than that polystyrene we had with the A380. It's a lot less quiet, a lot less of that cringy noise, but taking the model out, if it'll actually come out, that is. There we go, there's the model. Wow, this is absolutely amazing. You can take all of the plastic off of the model now, and there we go. Man, that looks insane. Okay, so here we have the model without any of the landing gear in. I will put that in a minute. Okay, so here we go. Here's the model in all of its beautiful glory. Now, I did originally order the in-flight 200 version of this model. I did actually switch to Gemini 200. The in-flight 200 version came out before the Gemini one, and so I did immediately jump on the in-flight 200 one, but I'm actually kind of glad I went for the Gemini one. One thing I didn't do is go for the 1-400 Gemini one. The A330 mold that Gemini Jets has in 1-400 scale is awful. The wings are way too steep, so I did in fact order the NG version of this, which is actually set to come out in next month's releases. However, they did actually put that onto order in July. So although it hasn't officially come out as an NG release yet from when I'm recording this, I believe from when I'm recording this, the NG releases are coming out tomorrow. But I did actually see the start of the registration in the hints, which actually came out today. They usually come out the day after the hints come out, so that'll probably be announced tomorrow, but I've already ordered it. I ordered ordered it back in July, as I said, so I should be getting that. So very excited about that. Of course, I will have an unboxing of that when that eventually comes, probably in a month's time from when you're seeing this. But yeah, this is an absolutely amazing aircraft. I'm going to go ahead and put in the landing gear now, and I will come back when it's all completely intact and in place. Okay, so here is the model, freestanding on its own 4 legs, or 3 legs as I should say. I'll go through this model in detail and then I will unbox the F-35. But starting off at the front here, we've got the cockpit windows here. I love all the markings they have on this, it just makes it so detailed and so nice. We've got the Royal Air Force logo up there, we've got the Union Jack on all of the doors. We have one of the cargo doors down here, and then we've got some symbols all dotted around the place with the forward landing gear with 336, the last 3 numbers of the registration there. Moving to the center of the aircraft now, of course we've got the United Kingdom title in gold. The gold edition is actually a really nice touch. If this was kind of like proposed to me, this idea of having the titles in gold, I honestly would have questioned the idea of putting it in gold, but it really does work. I really like it. Then we've got this, I'm not sure what this is up the top here, and they do indeed have this on all of the A330 MRTTs. I'm guessing it's some kind of weird antenna. I'm not really sure what this is. We've got the beacon light at the top there as well. Then the engines as well. There you can get a look at all the engine details, and then I believe the engines, just like the A380, are see-through and they do indeed spin. Then just here on the winglets, we've got the red, white and blue on the winglets, and then we've got the pods here. These are the refueling pods, of course. And then just here at the rear of the aircraft, we've got the registration here, which is Zulu 336. Then we've got the Royal Air Force logo again, the rear doors, the emergency exit there, and then we've got this amazing Union Jack on the tail here, which just looks absolutely incredible. I'm just a massive fan of this livery. It looks so good. I love how they've kind of adapted the Union Jack so it kind of like flows towards the front of the aircraft. This model just looks really good, and with that I'm going to move on to this. This is the Herpa 1-200 F-35, which is the Royal Australian Air Force one, as I said. This is an F-35A. There are, of course, 3 variations of the F-35. We've got the F-35A, B, and C. We've got some pictures of the real F-35 on the side there, and then on the back we've got that amazing picture of the F-35 with the I presume this is the pilot on the wing there. It just looks really good. I do have some experience when it comes to Herpa 1-200 fighter jets. I did actually have an F-16 I bought at Farnborough Air Show in 2014, I think it was. That aircraft got beaten up to hell. These 1-200 fighter jets are pretty cool. They're in like a nice little scale where they are, you know, detailed enough, but they're still quite a small size. I have been tempted to collect these, but honestly I just don't need anything else to collect. I might get a Eurofighter or a Royal Air Force one if that ever does come available to me. They just go really well with the Voyager, of course, because these are seen together a lot of the time when refueling. But without further ado, let's go ahead and open this model. We've got the plastic cradle there, of course, and then inside here, if we lift this up, we have the plastic on the top there, and then we have the F-35 model. Okay, so here it is. For a size comparison, here we have a 1-400 A330. You can see that it's probably about half the length of the A330. It's pretty sizable. I say sizable because I'm a 1-400 collector primarily. That kind of seems like a big model to me, but I'm sure for a lot of 1-200 collectors this is a tiny model. And as you can see, one of the reasons why I wasn't too fussed about getting a Royal Australian Air Force one is there isn't a lot of difference. Of course, we've got, if you zoomed in really far, you can make out the kangaroo in the circle rather than just the dot that the Royal Air Force one has, and also we have some markings on the rear stabilizers there, but overall it's pretty much the same. You can see at the front here we've got the cockpit there. We've got the nose of the aircraft, the wheels, of course. I always think the wheels on the F-35 just look in a really weird position. I don't know if anybody else gets that, but it just looks a bit weird. There's the belly of the aircraft there. We've got the single engine on the back there. And yeah, it just looks really good. It's a nice little feature to add with the Voyager, of course. I have always thought about maybe doing some kind of 1-200 military base. We're talking years in the future here, but you know, if you guys keep on motivating me to do this, I will indeed do a 1-200 military base when I eventually get the money and the patience to sit down and make one. We'll have lines of F-35s, we'll have Eurofighters. I'll probably try and make something like Boris, maybe not a full Boris because that'd be huge. But I think if Gemini do release a 1-200 Royal Air Force A400M, I probably will go for that, to be honest. The A400M is my favourite kind of military cargo aircraft. But yeah, that does kind of conclude this video. An absolutely beautiful pair of aircraft. They really go well together. I just need a second F-35, then we can have one on each thing. I have kind of thought about maybe kind of like DIYing some kind of wire pole to go off of there, and then we have the F-35 attached at the back while it's on the stand, but I don't think that would support the weight of the F-35 here. But that would be a really, really cool little feature. And with that, I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.